Hello and welcome back. I'm Nicole, a cottage witch, and today I'm going to do the St. Patrick's Day tarot tag, which is the St. Patty's Tarot. And it's a VR to Cosmic Lunar Soul and A Life Full of Simplicity. And they created this tag, but I watched this tag on a few other channels, so I've linked those lovely people below because I really enjoyed this. So if you haven't seen this tag before, you should check those out. Basically, there are 7 prompts to do with, unsurprisingly, St. Patrick's Day. And because I'm me, I'm doing a tarot book combo. So the first prompt is End of the Rainbow. What deck did you have a hard time finding or tracking down? And I didn't have a hard time finding it. We had some hard times with the French Postal Service, though. This is the Tarot de Passage Intérieur. I always have to practice the R's. I should practice it before I say it, like when the camera is recording. Anyway, it's the Tarot of Interior Landscapes, and it's beautiful. I love it. It's a little bit bleak, maybe, but beautiful and very intuitive and moving. It reminds me a bit of home, being a Canadian prairie girl. So this is yes, a hard time, not because it's out of print or anything, but just logistically with the French Postal Service. They didn't want to ship it to Canada for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, it got here eventually, and I'm very happy about it. And the second question sort of ties into this. Which is Pot of Gold. When you found that deck, was it worth the quest? And yes, definitely. It was a bit of a hassle, but it was worth the hassle. Hopefully the creator doesn't disagree with that, because it's just a one-woman operation. And it was a bit of hassle for her, unfortunately. But it got here, and it's so, so beautiful. Yeah. I love it. So on the book front, the books I've had a hard time tracking down tend to be Corinne Boyer books, because even though they've been published usually fairly recently, her publishing company doesn't tend to either print very many or let them go out of stock really quickly after the publication date, at least compared to other publishing companies. And this makes them a bit scarce and jacks the price way up, and I hate it. I just hate that style of operation. They're smaller book companies. You know, I understand book companies that are small, like small publishing houses, can't have large print runs because it's just not financially feasible for them. But other companies do seem to manage these things in a better way that I appreciate. So one book that I don't actually have in my possession yet, but has been shipped and is allegedly on its way here, is Under the Witching Tree. And that I got for under $50, which is about the maximum I would pay for a book, but I think it's about 220 something on Amazon at the moment, which is ridiculous. Don't pay that. That's nuts. But it does that occasionally. Like every now and again, if you keep an eye out for her books, you can find them either on Amazon or eBay at reasonable prices, at least in Canada. I don't know about other countries. It's probably easier in the UK to get a hold of her books. But yeah, the other book that I had trouble getting, and was a similar sort of situation where now it's actually on sale for about $40 on Amazon. So I've linked that below. But I have seen it on sale for obscene prices as well, is Under the Bramble Arch. And it's part of a trilogy. There's Under the Bramble Arch, Under the Witching Tree, and then her new book that's just come out, which is Under the Dragon Root, I think, about poisonous plants. And it hasn't been published in paperback yet, so I'm waiting for that, because I'm not spending ridiculous money on the collector's hardback editions, which, I mean, if that's your thing, go nuts, but I'm just not. I'll wait for the paperback. But this is a slightly different style. So sometimes her books, like The Witch's Cabinet and Plants of the Devil, are by theme. Like each chapter will have a certain theme, and she'll talk about plants around that theme. This one seems to be about, like, categorized by plants. So here's some pages on violet. dandelion, burdock. So I'm looking forward to this because I do like a lot of those plants. And yeah, but so yes, I'm glad I got this one. I'm glad I didn't pay, well, I wouldn't, but I'm glad I didn't pay $229 for it. So just, if you're on the lookout for her books, just set up notifications or something, or check periodically, because no, 200 is nuts. Next question, Shamrock Shake. What's your favorite snack when doing readings? I don't really. But, oh, there's the artist card. Oh well. But when reading, I do have snacks. Usually some chocolate or some tea. Chocolate and tea are the staples in my apartment. And when you combine that with books, I mean, it doesn't get any better. So that's the Shamrock Shake. Leprechaun is prompt number 4. Do you own a rare or out of print deck? If not, which one would you get if you could? So I do, actually, but also, again, it was like with the Corinne Boyer books. I'm not going to spend $200 on a deck. I'm just, no. It's not going to happen. I don't have that kind of budget. But I did on eBay find, and I've been looking for this for a while, the Tarot Racine, The Roots of Asia. It's beautiful. It is out of print, but you can still find it in French and German, either secondhand or sometimes even not secondhand. This wasn't secondhand. I just found it on eBay. Somebody was selling a copy. I don't know why they pop up periodically, but I love this art style. I love the colors. I love the hints of cubism now and again. Like, it's just, I love it. And I love that it's a Buddhist worldview. So yeah, this is my rare out of print deck. And I actually don't mind people showing their out of print decks. I know some people hate it, but I watch TarotTube to connect with other people, like-minded people, and get new ideas and that sort of thing. And sometimes new ideas for decks, but I don't feel like every deck I see that I like, I need to be able to buy, you know. Sometimes you just can't have everything. Because that's life. So yeah, I don't mind if other people show out of print decks that they like. I enjoy when people enjoy things. You know, if people are enthusiastic about something and it brings them joy, then I'm happy about that. So yeah, that's my out of print deck. My out of print book is actually selling, a secondhand copy is selling on Amazon for like $20 at the moment, which is cheaper than I got this for, but not that much. It's Dreams of Being Eaten Alive, The Literary Core of the Kabbalah by David Rosenberg. And I haven't read this one yet because I just got it recently, but it came up a couple times in A Walk Through the Forest of Souls by, why am I blanking on her name now? Presumably, if you know tarot, you know who I'm talking about. She wrote 78 Degrees of Wisdom. Why am I blanking on her name? As soon as I stop recording, it's going to pop into my head. Anyway, she's a Jewish woman. She's passed away now. She was a Jewish woman. And sometimes I feel like Kabbalah can be kind of appropriative, the way it's discussed in these sort of tarot circles. So I really appreciated her talking about a book by an actual rabbi and coming from a Jewish one. I thought, okay, if I'm going to read any sort of beginner book about it, it'll be this one. So I'm not sure really yet if I'm interested in the Kabbalah. I mean, I'm interested in all sorts of theology and beliefs, and like, I watch theology channels for fun, like Data Over Dogma, excellent. But I'm a geek, so you know, there's that. Next prompt is for Leaf Clover, a deck you thought would be just another deck that turned out to be something great. And that for me is Tarot the Abyss, because it's a nice, affordable, mass market deck. It's black and white, it's very pretty, but it's got a lot of depth. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised because it's Anatolian and she's an incredible artist. But I was, you know, new to tarot at the time, and I thought, well, okay, I'll try a black and white deck, but I'm not sure if it's my thing. And at least when it's Anatolian, it's very definitely my thing. Her line work is so evocative, and it's just, you feel what's happening so completely. even though there's no color. It's really remarkable. And so beautiful. And it's become, excuse me, a very meaningful deck to me because I connect it to winter and sort of the spirit of winter, the Kaliach, and things along those lines. And because I live in a place where it's winter for like half the year, that's a key sort of facet of my life. I love her. I liked her alternate. She had a couple alternate cards for, I think, the Three of Swords and the Ten of Swords, which I loved. Yeah, it's just an astonishingly beautiful deck. And I love using it, and it reads very well. And I have no complaints. Nope, none. Okay. A book that fits this category is a book that I thought was, you know, another tarot book. I'll learn more about tarot. I'm trying to learn about the Marseille. And I'd read The Untold Tarot, which I thought was, you know, good, but not the most amazing thing I'd ever read. It's more like a reference book, I think, than a book you read through beginning to end. And I thought this might be something like that, and it is not. This is Read Like the Devil, the Essential Course in Reading the Marseille Tarot by Camelia Elias. She is, okay, so this is the first book I've read by this author. It will not be the last. She's an amazing author, incredible writer. But she's one of these people where you know, some people have a certain personality where you describe them as a character. Like, she could be a character in her own, like, movie or something. Or novels could be written about her as a character. She's just, her personality comes through in the book in such a way that is captivating, really. And it's very different from mine. And I don't agree with everything in the book. Like, her sense of ethics is very different from mine. Not necessarily in a bad way, just in a, I'm not sure I'm going to go into that sort of way. But her ideas are so thought-provoking. Like, you can't read this book and not have the ideas that you had about the Marseille be questioned. Like, severely questioned. It's so fascinating. It's so good. I'm like 4/5 the way through. I'm gonna finish that this week. I have her book, her Read Like the Devil book, on playing cards as well, and she has one on Lenormand. And even though I'm not interested in Lenormand, I'm sort of tempted just because the way she writes about the cards is so fascinating. Like, I can't even, I'm not doing a very good job of describing it, I think. But she writes with such passion and such conviction, and she doesn't mess around. She's not messing around. She, you know, if you feel differently, she doesn't care. But so, you know, people may not agree with everything she writes, but it's a really fantastic perspective, and I'm so glad I'm reading this book. And I'm so glad I have the playing cards one too, and this was a book, actually, I got the playing cards book about 2 or 3 pages into reading this book, because her voice is so singular that as soon as I started reading this, I knew I wanted to read the playing cards one. Even if I didn't know what the rest of this was about, which I didn't at the time, I knew that I wanted to read more of her, because it's, yeah, incredible. The next prompt is Irish Whiskey, a deck that's always a party or celebration. And I don't have a lot that are like party decks. I could have gone with something like the Spectral Whirl, but I went with the Boo Tarot because it's adorable and I love it. It is a bit bowed. I don't know if that's because of the humidity, like, changes that went through between France and Canada. It could be. And I think the more, if I use it for a while, I can straighten it out, and then if I leave it for a while, it gets bowed again. So that's just sort of how it goes with this one. But that's fine. It's super cute. Seriously, it's like, it's outrageously cute. It does have, you know, all the serious cards, Exhibit A. But even then, they're like, look at the smile on this ridiculous. It's so cute. Like, he's just so excited to meet another new ghost. It's adorable. So yeah, it does seem like And even in the tower here, like, these are some mischievous ghosts that are just wreaking some havoc. And so even in the more challenging cards, the ghosts are still having fun and being a little bit cheeky, and you can't nail them down. I mean, they are ghosts. You know, they're, yeah, it's really outrageously cute. So this is my idea of a party or celebration. Also, this is kind of my idea of a party. Like, I'm not a party person. My idea of a Friday night is, you know, a book and a cup of tea in bed. Like, that's it, basically. So, keep that in mind. The book that I picked for this is The French Chef Cookbook by Julia Child, which I couldn't find online, so I've linked to a couple of different things. I've linked to videos of her TV show, The French Chef. So she had a TV show called The French Chef, and this is a cookbook from that TV series. And if you've never watched her TV show, like if you've only ever heard about her and never seen her on TV, I've included a link to just a random episode that I found on YouTube, but like, have a look at one of them, because it's oh, I love Julia Child to pieces. She made cooking so straightforward and so relatable, and down to earth, but also incredible. And sometimes her sense of humor is quite spectacular. And I love watching her show. It's so much fun. Her energy is fantastic. Like, she's very lively and enthusiastic, and loves cooking and loves teaching people to cook on this show. I mean, she's passed away now as well. But amazing. Even if you don't love cooking, if you want to be entertained for a while, just look up Julia Child videos on YouTube. You will not regret it. The last prompt is Rich Heritage. What deck in your collection has so much depth to it, whether with art, guidebook, or readings? And for that, I picked one of my go-tos, the Tarot Avatara, because the guidebook is lovely. But the deck is phenomenal. I mean, in addition to being just a beautiful sensory experience, the artwork is so multi-layered. There's just so much going on here that I can't, like, I've used it for about a year now. Probably more than most of my decks, except for the Gentle Tarot. And every time I look at a card, I see or notice new things or make new connections. And yeah, it's inspired by Frida Kahlo. And there's a lot of symbolism in here, and it's thoth-ish. A bit heavy on the ish in some of them, but thothy a little bit. And so even the colors in that sense have a layer of meaning to add, and it's just, but it's very Frida. And it's just astonishingly beautiful. I love it to pieces. So yeah, you've got some Rider-Waite bits, but also some Thoth bits in here, and it's just, it does use the Thoth system for the quartz. But yeah, this has no end of depth to it. I just love it. And for the book, I chose this one. This is the Cherokee Herbal by J.T. Garrett. He is Cherokee. And one of the things I liked about this book was that he'd talked to many Cherokee elders in his community before writing it, and decided what they agreed could become public information outside of their nation, and what should remain something that has to be communicated face to face, because there is some knowledge, indigenous knowledge in particular, that you have to know that somebody's going to take a certain amount of care with it. So then people don't trust, books, because then anybody has access to it. But they did realize that even though face-to-face is the ideal way to learn some of the teachings about plants in this book, with colonization, you know, continuing basically, there's no way that they're going to be able to pass down all of that knowledge face-to-face without losing significant parts of it. So this was to preserve that heritage, which I think is incredible and beautiful and also really sad. So yeah, this has a lot of depth. It's got, I mean, it's got a lot of sections where he talks about different plants and what they do, but there's a lot of contextual information, cultural information as well, which is really important. So yeah, that's the end of my VR to the St. Patrick's Day Tarot. Hopefully more people will do it, because it's been quite fun to watch, even though, bizarrely, I don't tend to do anything for St. Patrick's Day. Although I do have Irish ancestors, but I don't know if they would have liked St. Patrick either, so who knows. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.